Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and today I want to chat with you guys a little bit about really a time-proven concept. This is something that has been successfully used in the bodybuilding world and actually in the powerlifting world too at this point for generations successfully. And when people try to argue about different methods, they say, well, this method or that method has only been applied to people on really large amounts of stuff, except that this idea was being successfully used by bodybuilding champions before that. So you can't really say that that's the case. And so, when someone starts talking about classic bodybuilding in any sort of traditional sense and just gaining muscle, if they claim that this isn't part of it, then they're ignorant of history. Okay, because this is a time-proven idea. Yes, it was used later by guys on hefty amounts of stuff. Probably not as much with the current guys, although you did see guys like Ronnie Coleman do it. But yeah, going back to the 50s, the 60s, guys were very successfully implementing this idea. And the idea is you do your big movements with fairly heavy weight. Notice I didn't say you had to max out. Now you get over to West Side type ideas, and that's exactly what they did. It's, come in and max out and then do pump bodybuilding type work. Again, very successfully used. But you look at the bodybuilding world historically, this is a time-proven classic idea, and it does work. It does work. And you can't deny that it works because it built tons of champions and very impressive physiques long before guys were on a bunch of stuff. Right? And you've even seen some exercise minimalists successfully push this at different points. But I think some of them take it too far and skip the pump work too much. And I think both have their place. But here's the idea. When you come in and do your heavy work, you get a lot of upper threshold muscle fibers. We stimulate a lot of growth. We get some neural drive. We get strength improvements that carry over to your general work capacity. Right? Then we get into the idea that really heavy work, and again, heavy relative, it could be 3, 4, 5, 6 rep sets, But your big, heavy movements, not only do they have the most potential to put growth on you, the only downside is they can be a little hard on joints when we do too much volume. That's why it makes sense to do some of this other stuff, okay? But the idea, they do have the potential for better bone density, all that stuff, but possibly more myofibrillar growth, right? A lean, solid muscle tissue that makes you harder. And that's, again, a whole other topic of debate of can you change the ratios of myofibrillar and sarcoplasmic growth? That's scientifically debated, but we know that both growth types do occur, and it has been speculated that the former is the reason some people do look a lot harder and more chiseled when they peel down versus just being round and smooth. And that harder granite look potentially comes from that heavy work, okay? Potentially comes from it. And we absolutely can grow from it. There have been plenty of people who've built impressive physiques and size, all 5 rep sets, okay? It's been done many times throughout history. Okay, the idea it works, and any idea that people have that you're not going to grow from that is just silly. All right, but what has always worked really, really well? Come in and do your heavy work, and follow it up with pump work. Yeah, does it mean pump work isn't hard? No, it doesn't mean that. Take your sets close to failure, take them to failure. All right, you can do all that stuff with a lot of the pump work. Because it's not big, heavy movements, your injury risks are going to be lower from taking sets to failure, pushing them like that, doing those things really hard. Okay, injury risks are lower. It's going to beat your joints and stuff up less. But there is absolutely a synergistic effect that it seems to occur here because it lets us train more total volume that we can recover from. All right, more total volume that we can recover from. And kind of get the best of both worlds there because we can still get the heavier work and all the benefits from these big movements done with heavy weights We get all the benefits of that, but we don't take them to extreme volumes so that they're not just beating us into the ground. Then we can get additional quality training stimulus off the pump work. All right? It works very, very well. Then you have to factor in the idea that you're seeing even a lot of scientists and researchers are out here saying, look, I mean, we don't have the tools to fully study this as much as we would like, but it makes sense when you look at the way the body works that different rep ranges themselves may have some slightly different hypertrophy stimulus, hypertrophic stimulus. That means muscle growth for the layman. So in other words, using some slightly different potential pathways in the body to get muscle growth. And that would make sense. It would make sense that using a variety of tools could get you further with certain things in the body, could get a better training response, could get more growth, particularly if there's again multiple pathways involved with that muscle growth. And then you have to think about different recovery pathways involved, different energy pathways, different recovery pathways. Using things like this in a set of mixed rep ranges, even in the same workouts, right? Certain recovery pathways are going to be hit differently. We're not hammering all of them as much. So in theory, then again, I would say that it's not just theory because we've seen it work quite well in the real world, but this could be an explanation. You may get a little bit of total recovery more quickly because you're not exhausting all those pathways and beating them into the ground. Okay, so we're getting different training responses, possibly some different metabolic effects and things that create muscle growth done through different rep ranges. Maybe even eliciting a variety of slightly different types of muscle growth. Okay. So again, that's also something that we have to factor in with it. We have to think about. But setting all of the science and those concepts to the side, and you look at the history, it has been successfully used repeatedly for generations. It is a long-standing, proven concept. Heavy work followed by pump work. Again, it built many impressive physiques before anabolic drugs were in heavy use like they are today. All right, so again, we come over and look at it from that perspective, and it's like, okay, we know that it works, right? We know that it works. It's proven, it stood the test of time. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you guys next time.